Well, finally getting started on the rest of season 4 of the Next Generation. Technically, I did the first episode a while ago, but it was a two-parter. It's like part 2, so I couldn't just leave it. Anyway, so this is one of those episodes where, while there's conflict in it, the conflict is a completely different sort than what we normally see in Star Trek. It's family drama that's not even a particularly um what's a word for it? Antagonistic. Yeah, antagonistic is a good enough word. It's family drama where, you're talking to your family about this and that and the other thing, and sorting out how you and your family feel about things and so on and so forth. And while there's, animated discussions, you're not really trying to antagonize each other. So, anyways, this episode has three main plot threads going for it. One, Picard tried to deal with the fact that he was assimilated into the Borg Collective and trying to go back to some semblance of normal after that. Worf, trying to deal with the fact that he was discommendated, and honestly, the Worf discommendation thing, I don't get it. I never did. It's, it's like, yes, I don't think any human can truly understand what it means to be dishonored like this. Like, okay, but, when did you get that? Yeah, I don't understand it. Anyway, and the third thing is actually a Wesley Crusher plot related to the fact that his father, Jack Crusher, is dead. Which, okay. Doing this as a TTRPG, though, that's the part about this that we're here to discuss, and this is kind of sort of a downtime episode. I mean, because there's no combat, there's barely even interpersonal drama. It's mostly about getting to know the backstories and families of the various characters, because this is one of those episodes that goes a long way into establishing the well, we meet several of Picard's relatives for the first time, and spend a lot of time meeting Worf's foster parents uh, as part of this episode. And of course, have a few other people end up getting involved with this because and talking to various other things. I genuinely don't remember, because like he's alluding to something that happened previously. Ah, yes, we never actually saw Michael O'Brien. That's what I thought. And yeah, this is one of those things where they kind of like retcon something into having happened in the past, but you don't actually see any of it. Oh, well. Overall, this is one of those episodes that would be heavily um, reliant on the players deciding they wanted to RP stuff and not, you giving them tasks to do because, well, it's about player choice and what the players want to establish as part of their character backstory and so on and so forth. And thus, it's not quite as simple as you're writing a mystery. And that's one of the things that's heavily characteristic of a proper downtime episode, though, is you just don't have any like structured plot. Is that you basically tell the players like, okay, here, go relax and stuff for a while. Hmm. Yeah, this is actually kind of an interesting thing. It's like, yes, Jean-Luc Picard and Robert Picard get into a wrestling match, but that doesn't really go anywhere. And of course, this is one of those things where it's established that Jean-Luc actually has some pretty massive survivor's guilt related to having been assimilated. And it's one of those things that's kind of interesting because not everyone actually found it to be that traumatic. However, in Picard's case, it makes clear here that part of what made it the trauma of it so lasting for him is the specifics of what he did as a Borg, because Picard was the captain of the Borg cube that destroyed a Federation fleet at the Battle of Wolf 359. And that's a problem for Picard because it's not as simple as like, oh, I got turned into a Borg. I wandered around the hallway for several hours. No, 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 no. I think he would have preferred that. Nothing to feel guilty about. You just, stood around doing Borg things. Nothing bad. Didn't kill anyone or blow up a Federation starship. Nope, nope, nope. Battle of Wolf 359. An entire Federation fleet got demolished. And no one actually does the number of casualties. Because we actually know beyond a shadow of a doubt that Borg did um, capture several of the people. So that while several members of the crews of the various ships got killed, not all of them, and we don't actually know exactly how many. However, Battle of Wolf 359, it does seem highly likely that several thousand people got killed. And Picard, has a survivor's guilt of like, oh no, I was the Borg leader, killing all this Federation fleet. Oh boy. Anyway, though, that does kind of sort of create an interesting wrinkle for Picard's character, and doing that in a TTRPG is something that you could probably find a way to work into a story, because players making choices and then having to deal with the fallout of those choices, sure, that's a thing that could happen. Anyway, though. But yes, like the big picture for this episode is just that it's about players doing RP stuff. If you were to try doing this like in a TTRPG, this would basically just be a session of the players role playing and doing whatever role playing tasks. Uh, not a huge amount of stuff to actually like properly set up from on the GM perspective. I mean, I suppose you would want to collect stuff about the backstory that they're trying to work with, but it's not a huge amount of stuff to actually do there. Anyway, though, it's one of those things that's interesting because like this is the sort of thing that you would put into as something that's like a long campaign. Definitely not the sort of thing you do as a one shot. Alrighty then. Well, that's about all I can think of to say about this one. It's one of those episodes that it's got plenty of like actual like story to it. It's just that it's mostly story. Alrighty. Well, see y'all later.